Half a day, everyone. Half a day. Welcome. Welcome to the Guam Congress building. Thank you for being here. And please let us know if there are any other war survivors. We'd like to seat you in the front. And again, I'm Speaker Therese Terlaje. I'm here together with my colleagues, the members of the 37th Guam Legislature. And we welcome you to this Guam Congress building. And I'd like to also welcome, we have some distinguished guests with us today. Of course, our war survivors. Sidzus Maasi for being here. Thank you. We also have Judge Lamarena and our Congressman, Moylan. And we have a very distinguished panel from the Consul General offices of Guam. Thank you so much for coming. And please stand. Please stand. Thank you. Those are from the Consul General offices of Japan, Palau, Korea, and Philippines. We also have with us representatives of the Menemgan Foundation. Thank you, Ms. Stephanie Flores, who's the president. Thank you for coming. And of course, the Guam War Survivors Memorial Foundation, which is presided by the president, Senator Frank Blas, Jr. So we're here today to memorialize and celebrate War Survivor Remembrance Day. This is pursuant to a law that was passed by the 33rd Guam Legislature that says that every June 28, we are going to honor, recognize, and recount the stories of our war survivors so that all future generations will know and learn from this greatest generation. Our war survivors have rebuilt our villages and our island and forged from the darkness, from the fear, from the ashes and rubble, an indestructible pillars of strength, courage, perseverance, and resilience. We are forever grateful, and we must forever honor the survivors that have gone before us, honor the survivors who are still with us, and remind all of our future generations to never forget the lessons that we have learned from them. While Guam was pursuing war claims for its survivors and those who had died during the war, many testified to Congress, the United States Congress, and to the Guam War Claims Commission panel. And that panel, that commission, made findings for Guam. And I'm going to read a few excerpts, just the excerpts, so that we remember what they decided and they put down as their report to Congress. They said many witnesses testified that Japanese soldiers evicted them from their homes and took all their food and livestock. Another finding is they were forced to march great distances to 3 different concentration camps with little or no time to collect provisions, resulting in many of the elderly dying along the way or shortly after arriving at the camps. The condition of the camps was horrendous. There was little to no shelter. They had no food or water. Some were near a small river, but the river was very polluted with human waste. Another finding, able-bodied Chamorros were forced to work on different projects, some in military construction, such as airstrips or coastal defensive positions, others on farms or rice paddies. Some had to work on multiple farms, hiking vast distances and over sloping hills each day, not only to one farm, but then later in the day to another farm. They were forced to do it every day, whether they were healthy or not. If they were unable because they were sick, they were beaten and threatened with death. The local inhabitants were treated in the most brutal, cruel, and despicable manner. Many of the survivors testified that they continued to endure the psychological effects of the war. Again, this is the War Commission's findings. A couple more. The War Review Commission is not aware of any comparable situation other than Guam, where virtually the entire population was either interned, in hiding to avoid capture, or subjected to forced march at one time or another while under Japanese occupation during World War II. They talked about the Navy's Land Claims Commission. The U.S. Navy put forth vigorous good faith efforts to address the war damage and lost claims of residents. But that was hampered by the ongoing buildup of forces on the island in the preparation for the Allied assault on Japan, by the frequent turnover of Navy personnel, and by the fact that at the same time the Navy was dealing with the claims, it was also responsible for conducting a large-scale land acquisition program on the island, under which the U.S. government eventually came to occupy nearly 3/4 of the island. The Commission affirms that there is a moral obligation on the part of our national government to pay compensation for war damages in order to ensure, to the extent possible, that no single individual or group of individuals bears more than a just part of the overall burden of war. The Review Commission finds that the Japanese occupation of Guam was particularly cruel, oppressive, and brutal, and that the loyalty and steadfastness shown by the people of Guam in the face of the atrocities and barbarism inflicted on them by their Japanese occupiers was all the more extraordinary in the circumstances in which they were forced to live. So we are commemorating this day and honoring you with a resolution, number 436-37 LS, sponsored by myself, Therese Terlaje, and all the senators, Senator Frank Blas Jr., Senator Amanda L. Shelton, Senator Tina Rose Munir Barnes, Senator Chris Barnett, Senator Sabina Flores Perez, Senator Joanne Brown, Senator Christopher M. Duenas, Senator Jesse A. Lujan, Senator William A. Parkinson, Senator Roy A.B. Kanata, Senator Joe S. San Augustine, Senator Dwayne T.D. San Nicolas, Senator Tello T. Taitagui, and Senator Tom Fisher. This resolution, my colleagues are going to help me reading, and we'll begin with Senator Blas.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Resolution number 436-37 LS, relative to recognizing the observance of War Survivor Remembrance Day on June 28, 2024, as part of the celebration of the 80th year anniversary of Guam's liberation, to honor and remember every survivor of Guam's wartime atrocities for their inspiring courage and resilience. Be it resolved by Imina 37 na Legislatura ng Guam, whereas Guam Public Law 33-56 designates June 28 of each year as War Survivor Remembrance Day, and it is a poignant and significant legislative act that acknowledges and honors the resilience, courage, and sacrifices of those who survived the harrowing experiences of World War II on Guam. This day is observed annually to commemorate the profound hardships endured by the Chamorro people, who faced unimaginable adversities during the Japanese occupation. The law serves not only as a tribute to the past, but also as an enduring reminder of the strength and tenacity of the human spirit in the face of overwhelming challenges. And we must do everything we can to honor the memories and the stories of those who endured permanent sufferings. The legacy of our war survivors, known as our greatest generation, should be recognized by all of the people of Guam, and the War Survivor Remembrance Day is an appropriate day to honor the survivors who have gone before us, celebrate the lives of those still with us, and remind future generations that they must never forget the greatest generation of the island's history.
Whereas the Japanese occupation of Guam began on December 8, 1941, just days after the attack on Pearl Harbor, and lasted until the island was liberated by American forces on July 21, 1944. During this period, the people of Guam faced severe repression, forced labor, internment, and brutality. Many were uprooted from their homes, suffered the loss of family members, and endured severe physical and emotional trauma. And whereas the Japanese occupiers imposed harsh labor conditions on the Chamorro people, and where many were forced to work on military installations, airfields, fortifications, and they were made to carry out grueling manual labor with little food, rest, or medical care. The Japanese sought to fortify the island against a potential American invasion, and the Chamorros were coerced into contributing to these efforts. And whereas
families were made to live with extreme restrictions under threat of harm to them or other family members, and many were forced to march to encampment sites. These camps were overcrowded, and the living conditions were deplorable. Basic necessities such as food, water, and medical supplies were scarce, leading to widespread malnutrition, disease, and death. Several forced marches ended in massacres. Some of the notable encampment and massacre sites include Menengan, Taguian, Asinan, Pigo, Fena, Faja, Tinta, Asmateo, Umafit, Besbis, Pajesdes, Edagaga, Fonte, Mata, Utan, Calagwak, Inalahan, Atati, Hagat, and Sumay Tai.
Whereas the Japanese occupiers also sought to erase Chamorro culture and impose their own, Chamorro language and customs were banned, and the people were forced to adopt Japanese customs, language, and even names. Schools were required to teach Japanese history and culture, and any form of resistance to these cultural impositions was met with severe punishment. And whereas the food shortages that plagued the island were severe, the Japanese commandeered much of the local food production for their own troops, leaving the Chamorro population to survive on meager rations. Starvation became a constant threat, and many Chamorros resorted to eating roots, leaves, and other inedible materials to stave off hunger. Diseases spread rapidly in the unsanitary conditions of the internment camp. Without adequate medical supplies or care, many Chamorros succumbed to illnesses that could have been easily treated under normal circumstances.
Whereas the Japanese military imposed a regime of fear and violence to maintain control over the Chamorro population. Beating, tortures, executions were common punishments for those suspected of disloyalty or resistance. The brutality extended to the public spectacles designed to instill fear, including beheadings and other forms of execution. Whereas on the most harrowing accounts of this period is the story of Fena Massacre. In July 1944, as American forces began their invasion, Japanese soldiers executed nearly 50 Chamorro men and boys in Fena area. They were bound, blindfolded, and led to their death in an attempt to prevent them from aiding the American forces and Japanese soldiers as they targeted women and children during this tragic event. And
whereas the psychological impact of the occupation was profound, the constant fear of violence, the loss of loved ones, the daily struggle for survival left deep emotional scars. Many Chamorros who lived through the occupation suffered from long-term psychological trauma. And whereas personal accounts from survivors provided a vivid and heartbreaking picture of life during the occupation. Survivors described the terror of nighttime raids, the anguish and watching family members beaten or killed, and the constant struggle to find food to eat. Despite these hardships, many also recount acts of quiet resistance, solidarity, and the small ways in which they tried to maintain their dignity and humanity. And whereas the book, Families in the Face of Survival, offers a deeply moving account of the personal experiences of wartime survivors, these stories provide valuable insights into the resilience and courage displayed by the Chamorro people during one of the darkest periods of their history. And one excerpt from the book recounts the harrowing experience of a young survivor, Rosa Salas, who described the moment her family was forcibly removed from their home. And she quotes, "We were taken in the middle of the night, with no time to gather our belongings. The fear in my mother's eyes was something I will never forget. Despite the terror, she held us close, whispering words of comfort and strength." And
whereas another powerful testimony highlights the communal spirit of solidarity that emerged among the Chamorro people during the occupation, one tight to note recalls, "In the camp, we learned to rely on each other. We shared what little we had and supported one another through the darkest of times. It was this sense of the community that helped us survive." And whereas in a small, close-knit villages of Guam, the days of the Japanese occupation were marked by fear, uncertainty, and hardship, families were uprooted from their homes and forced into internment camps where the semblance of normal life seemed a distant memory, yet amid darkness, the Chamorro people discovered a profound strength in their unity and enduring bonds of family.
Whereas Maria Taitano, a young girl during the war, remembered the strength her family provided. "In the darkest time, it was our family that kept us going. My father, though frail, would always find a way to bring us hope. He used to say, 'As long as we are together, we can face anything.' This sentiment was echoed throughout the island as families clung to each other for survival and solace." And whereas Antonio Salas recounted how the Chamorro spirit remained unbroken despite the brutal condition imposed by the occupiers. "We faced hunger, fear, and pain, but we never lost our spirit. The Japanese soldiers tried to break us, but they underestimated the strength of our community and our will to survive. This resilience was a testament to the enduring hope that liberation would one day come." And whereas for Rosa Camacho, hope was found in the night sky. "Every night we would look at the stars and dream of liberation. My grandmother used to tell us stories of a free Guam, and those stories gave us hope we needed to endure each day. These stories, passed down through generations, became a beacon of light in the darkness, reminding the Chamorro people of a time before the war and promising a future beyond it."
The earlier quote was Antonio Santos.
Whereas the calm presence of loved ones provided sanctuary amidst the chaos. Julio Perez vividly remembered his mother's soothing lullabies. "The fear was overwhelming, but we learned to hide it well. My mother's calm demeanor was our shield. She would sing lullabies to us even when bombs were falling nearby, and her voice was our sanctuary. Her courage became a source of strength for her children, a reminder that love could prevail even in the direst circumstances." And whereas in the internment camps, the Chamorro people found strength and solidarity, Conception Cruz described the sense of unity that emerged. "In the internment camps, we were all stripped of our identities, but it brought us closer. We shared everything, from food to stories, and in those moments, we found strength in each other. This shared suffering forged an unbreakable bond among them, transforming strangers into family." Whereas Felix Uggins spoke of the profound sacrifices made by his parents. My parents gave up everything to keep us safe. They went hungry so we could eat and face punishment to protect us. Their sacrifices are the reason I am alive today. Such acts of selflessness were common, as parents did everything in their power to shield their children from the harsh realities of war. And whereas Lydia Kinata emphasized the importance of cultural identity in their survival, we survived because we never forgot who we were and where we came from. Our culture, our traditions, and our faith carried us through the hardest times. Remembering our past is essential for our future. These traditions and values provided a foundation upon which the Chamorro people could rebuild their lives.
Whereas Carlos Flores, who was just a child during the war, recalled the pervasive atmosphere of fear, saying, "As a child, I didn't fully understand the war, but I remember the constant fear and the way the adults would whisper at night. Despite everything, they always made us feel loved and protected. The efforts of the adults to shield the children from the horrors around them were a testament to their enduring love and commitment." And whereas Beatrice Mantanotnia spoke of the community's resilience, saying, "The entire village became our family. We looked out for one another, shared what little we had, and found ways to celebrate life even in the midst of war. Our community's resilience was our greatest strength." This sense of communal support helped the Chamorro people endure the many trials they faced. And whereas Ramon Sablan reflected on the lessons learned from the war taught us the true meaning of strength and perseverance. It's important for the younger generations to understand our history so they can appreciate the peace and freedom we have today. His words serve as a reminder of the importance of remembering the past, to honor the sacrifices made, and to cherish the hard-won peace. And whereas importante esti na historian put igeran Guam, maataka itanota nu itropa ni rising sun, itsamoro man masapit, man maanya zan man mapuno, ni manay ladzi na tautaw, Harlem Lidzang Zan Boko. This history is important because it tells about the war in Guam. Our land was attacked at sunrise. The Chamorro people suffered, were tortured, and were killed by the enemy from their place of hiding. And those are the words in the Susie Arceo song entitled Guerra en Guam, which stresses the importance of telling Guam's war story. Through these narratives, the experiences of the Chamorro people during World War II come to life, illustrating their incredible resilience, courage, and unwavering hope. And War Survivor Remembrance Day stands as a testament to their enduring spirit, ensuring that their stories continue to inspire and educate future generations.
Whereas the end of Japanese occupation brought liberation, but the scars of those 3 years remained. The resilience and solidarity shown by the Chamorro people during this period became a cornerstone for their cultural identity. War Survival Remembrance Day, established by Guam Public Law 33-56, ensures that the memories of these atrocities and the bravery of the survivors are honored and remembered. And the narrative of the Chamorro people during World War II is one of the incredible resilience in the face of unimaginable adversity. It is a story that highlights not only the suffering they endured, but also their unwavering spirit and the strength of their community. Through remembrance and education, the legacy of their courage continues to inspire and teach future generations. And whereas Y Legislatura en Guahan expresses its gratitude to all Guam's war survivors, and those who helped memorialize their stories, including teachers, artists, writers, songwriters, and those who submitted testimony to the U.S. Congress, the Guam War Survivors Memorial Foundation, the Menengan Memorial Foundation,
the Mayor's Council of Guam, and many others for ensuring that the sacrifices and legacy of Guam's greatest generation are preserved for future generations. And
whereas the island's war survivors are the true embodiment of resilience and strength today. Today we come together to honor their fortitude and perseverance, which has paved the way for the peaceful life we cherish. Though the pain of the past still lingers, the legacy of the island's greatest generation teaches us that forgiveness helps us heal from the scars of war. It allows us to rebuild and grow stronger as a community. Let us never forget the struggles and sacrifices that have made us more vibrant, resilient people. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Imina 37 na legislatura in Guam does hereby, on behalf of the people, recognize the observance of the War Survivors Remembrance Day on June 28, 2024, as part of the celebration of the 80th year anniversary of Guam's liberation, to honor and remember every survivor of Guam's wartime atrocities for their inspiring courage and resilience. And be it further resolved that the Speaker certify and the Legislative Secretary attest to the adoption hereof, and the copies of the same be therefore transmitted to the Guam war survivors and island's greatest generation. And to the Honorable Lourdes A. Leon Guerrero, Imagalahin Guahan, duly and regularly adopted by Imina 37 na legislatura in Guam on the 25th day of June, 2024.
Situs Masi, Senators. We'll now present copies of these resolutions to the war survivors who are here with us today. These war survivors are here thanks to a lot of help from the mayors and the Mayor's Council of Guam. Situs Masi to all the mayors for helping us to contact those in their villages, and also to our senators and their families for contacting these war survivors. And thank you to all the families who are here, who have assisted them in making sure that they are here today and here to witness them as well. So, senators, if you're ready, I'll call the names. If you can, the first row, or why don't we start in this back row? Third row, we'll start with Maria Taitano. Maria Taitano de Layo. Evelina Cabrera. Francisco Cruz Borja. Mr. David Guzman. Oh, and Evelina L.G. Bonner. Over there. Peter Sablan. That don't have. Rosalia Santos Rosalia Santos. Colonel Joaquin Santos. Teresita Cruz. I'm sorry, Teresita Cruz Polino. Teresita Polino. We also have Teresita Meno Polino. And on this side again, Maria Tovis Blas Hill. Okay, the one in Francisco, did we do Francisco Cruz Borja? Already, está. Yeah. Alfred Ignacio. Lou Klitsky. Back row, yes. Thank you. Irene Duenas, should be second. Manuel Rapola. Conception Tovis. Patricia Taitano Guerrero. Irene Sumigasa. Irene Sumigasa. May Pelicani. Alfonsina Limtiaco. Alfonsina Limtiaco Payne. Alfonsina Limtiaco Payne. Seymour Payne. Jose Atoigui Crisostomo. Joyce Camacho Martat. Martat. Martarat. Wait, I'm going to. Elaine Cruz Jones. Julia Manley Vizagomez. All right, and Senator, if you could go to the other side. Barbara Dela Cruz. And Elizabeth Robbie. Elizabeth Robbie. Darlene Q and Goku. Oh, Senator. Darlene and Goku. Rosario Antalan. Rosario Regis. Vicente L.G. Kinata. Maria Polino. Jose Tayama. Franklin Manabusa. Anna Beneventi. Joaquin Babalta. Ignacia Perez Dueñas Sigüenza. Otto Sigüenza. That's Otto Sigüenza and Ignacia Perez Dueñas Sigüenza. Now we have Cynthia Terlaje. Cynthia Terlaje. Jose Sablan. Jose Sablan. Just present. Mr. John J. Cruz. Mr. John J. Cruz. Again, let's hear it for all of our war survivors who were able to join us today. Viva! Standing ovation for our pillars of strength. These are our pillars of strength who were able to join us today, many more in our villages, and many more who have passed. Outside in our halls, courtesy of the Guam War Survivors Memorial Foundation, we have the Wall of Courage showing the names of the 15,891 courageous Chamorros who survived, died, or suffered during the war on Guam. You can all are welcome to come down to the Congress building. These are a replica of the Wall of Strength and the names that are engraved up at the War of the Pacific in Nimitz Hill. This is a replica of that wall. You can see your family and their names there. Again, Saina Maasi. Tizu'us Maasi. All right, we're going to ask senators, we're going to get one group photo of these survivors. Yes, if you could join me up here, we'll get one group photo with the war survivors. You can just remain seated. We're going to be able to angle it so that we can get all of you. Yes. Our war survivors have rebuilt our villages, our island, and forged from the darkness, fear, and ashes and rubble indestructible pillars of strength, courage, perseverance, and resilience. We are forever grateful. Jesus Masi. After these photos, that will conclude our event today. I'd like to ask Judge Lamarena and Congressman to please join us up here. And we have light refreshments for all of you outside. Thank you again. Stephanie? So everybody look at those cameras, and then we'll get one for... Okay, thank you. Judge Lamarena, if you could join us, please. Okay, are we balanced? Ready? Okay, all the war survivors, please join us in saying, Vivat Zamoro! Vivat Zamoro! Vivat Zamoro!